So how do we get to Roma di Luna? How do you come back to the country?
Okay, this is the whirlwind. So,
well, what happened is we suddenly decided to get married. It was very, very spontaneous.
Yeah, I remember I got a phone call. You were like, "Hey, James, you think we can have a party at the Dinky Towner? I just got married." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. And I just started calling people. I'm like, "Yo, I'm getting married." And so for the people that knew me well and knew Channy, it wasn't that big. It wasn't a surprise. To the people who didn't know me that long, they were like, "Dude, are you serious? Like, are you sure? Are you sure about this?" I mean, I had friends being like, "Do you need me to come down there and get you, man? Like, have you been in South Dakota too long? Like, what did they do to you, And so, it was like, boom, it's done. But now, then,
We got married so quickly because you had to go on tour again.
Yeah. All right, so I go on tour, but I'm living in Minneapolis, so I'm home, and she still has to finish up school in Vermillion. So all of a sudden, it's like I'm sitting alone in my apartment, and I'm married, and she's in Vermillion, and seriously, like, how many weeks was it before?
It was about a month.
Like a month before she was even living with me, and so it all happened pretty fast, but it made perfect sense.
Yeah, it did. It makes perfect sense. But then I came back. I've been playing this bluegrass band that came back to Minneapolis. Although I'd grown up pretty much in Minneapolis since I was 5, like, I didn't really know that many people there anymore. He was playing guitar, so I was kind of looking for someone to play music with, and I answered a few Craigslist advertisements looking for violinists. That turned out a little bit scary and weird. And so we started just trying to play music together, play the music that I was playing with the bluegrass band, and
it was just out of necessity. It was just kind of like, I'm trying to do music, I want to play guitar and like write songs and stuff. And
I wanted to
you got that tape, David? She sent me a tape. This is before I came down to Vermillion, before we got married, and I think I had sent her a home recording of just like some songs I had been working on, whatever. And then so she sends me a tape back, and some of it was singing, some of it was just like reading poems that she liked, But I had never...
Last one is, I'm sure, one of your favorites.
I'd never heard her sing before.
Susanna to see. Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me. For I come from Alabama with the banjo on my knee.
You can cut that. You can cut it.
So you'd never heard her sing before?
I'd never heard her sing. As long as I'd known her, like, I was just like, I knew she could draw incredibly well. And, whatever.
He was the musician, so it just never came up. And, like, we were very, we dated since we were, like, 16, but just my musical taste was just kind of, like, not...
So what possessed you to make a tape? And I mean, you were making the poems and stuff, but to record yourself singing?
I think because he sent me songs of him singing, and then in this bluegrass band, I played the violin, and once in a while I sang. I would just sing Poor Wayfaring Stranger. People would ask me to sing that song. But... So I was kind of like, oh, well, I'm kind of singing now too, I'll send this to you. But that was the first time he ever, and it was kind of this strange thing where we didn't have a lot in common. We just really loved each other. But all of a sudden there was this common interest, where it was like, this was music I had grown up with, and now this is music that he really liked and he was really into. So it was like we had this new kind of connection of folk music and acoustic, music. So it was a kind of a new cool thing. Where before our relationship was just kind of like,
we never did anything together like creatively. Like we never, you know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, I mean, it was just, it was a wonderful surprise to find out that, you know, my wife, you know, had this amazing voice and, you know, could play violin and.
But I didn't think I had a voice to sing. I remember my violin teacher in college was asking me to sing my music, you know, sing this, you know, Fritz Kreisler song or something, some classical song. And I started singing, and I was very shy, and he was like, don't worry, violinists usually don't have good voices. And so I took that to be like, I probably suck. I mean, he's telling me that I don't have a good voice, so, you know, I just knew that I liked to sing in my car around my family, but, you know, so.
But out of nowhere, then, you know, she starts like writing her own stuff. And it was still pretty new for me too. It's like, I only had a handful of songs that I could even call songs, you know, or whatever. But, so yeah, then it was like, oh, cool, like, okay, you got these words and you kind of know how it sounds, so then we're trying to figure out the songs, you know, I just figure it out on guitars, you know, whatever, and so yeah, that just very quickly just turned into like, I mean, we'd mostly just play traditional folk songs. That was a great way to just learn how like a song could, you know, kind of should sound, or at least if you're doing that kind of music, you know, whatever.
Well, and you guys you started busking at the farmer's market,
that was a
right?
huge part
I think we've got
of
a picture of that.
Yeah, it was a huge part of our early marriage, was getting up every Saturday and Sunday morning and busking, and that's kind of where I got like my desire to perform again, you know, and people being like putting money in our hat and being like, oh, you know, people applauding, giving that joy back of like that high of performing, and people, you know, liking the way it sounded and making money, you know, for food. I mean, it was just like awesome. It was amazing.
They had really good like cinnamon rolls and stuff down there.
For the food right there.
Right there, yeah. So you'd spend everything you earn right there.
No, we didn't. We have more money than we do now then.
But yeah, no, I mean, that was an amazing, you know, venue to be performing at. I would highly recommend that to anyone who's like, you know, at all thinking about like, yeah, I just want to, you know, try playing and try performing, because it's the most honest place you can do it. If no one wants to listen to you, they'll keep walking.
Yeah.
They'll pretend they don't hear you, and they'll usher their children away from you. But if they like it, then they can gather around, and that started happening more when it was, you know, it was, you know, we're totally unamplified, so we usually have to do pretty upbeat songs.
You have to sing loud. I feel like that's where I learned how to
be sort of theatrical, you know, just like a performance, you know, and it was like the kids were always the one who noticed first. The parents, you know, they're still waking up, haven't had their coffee or whatever. They're thinking about produce, you know, and then the kid in the stroller, you know, or whatever, the toddler, it's like and then the parents go, oh, you know, what is Junior looking at, you know, and then they all, you know, you know, it'd be an amazing feeling, just like, and sometimes it only lasts for like one song, you know, and then you like do something else that didn't quite work and people disperse, but it was just kind of like, whoa, that was like a cool moment. So
I think that's been some of my most like joyous and fulfilling moments in music is busking, and it's just the best feeling. Just people coming up and requesting songs. Yeah, it's just really wonderful. It feels very like this is like the primal, you know, where it started.